Then I remember Mr. Singh, East Coast Radio, said, yo, come down, let's talk, let's do something. I know this is not the call I was waiting for. No, I don't want to go home. Because I tried so much Akaya, when Kakasi transformed from P4 to Kakasi, everyone was just bengelulungen, getting the contact details. And I know, not now. KZN later.
Wow. So you said no to an opportunity, though?
No, not at home. I don't want to be close to
East Coast is a big station.
Massive. And then man, like Ikazi and Imoya, I'm very spiritual. Like when the energy changes, I feel it. I felt like the energy was just weird. It was starting to move differently. Then I remember telling my producer Mohau and Eltavis, my co-host, I was like, guys, I can't, because we now need to start thinking about the show from March. What are we doing in April? I'm like, guys, my brain can't see me saying YFM in April. I can't think anything. Like, I'm blank. I have a feeling this thing ends. Cool. Mentally, I'd signed it off. I'm leaving Y.
And once you get into Metro, the gigs, my man, they start coming nationwide. You're like, yo.
Zonke.
So it's not about the salary. It's about what it brings for your life.
The access. Now you're operating at a very high level.
Didn't you get shocked when you got that mic and the feedback? You're like, I've always known this station is huge, but not at this level.
I felt like I was starting radio all over again. Because that moment, I was saving it for the day I joined Metro. And when that moment happened, it felt it was an avalanche. It was thunderstorms. I remember doing the photo shoot ngaphandle, wearing my T-shirt and my cap, and I'm like, yo, this is the picture for a press release. I'm joining the mighty Metro.
Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the Hustlers Corner. This is Usbuda Buddha, and I'm hanging out with another radio legend he's become. As I'm walking into the room, he's sort of zelling there. Because we are recording this episode ngaboma past 4, and so the reason why it's Katela is because we wake up at 3 in the morning. We both do morning shows, and we always bump into each other at the SABC entrance. So around ladies and gents, his name is SABBY. But before I get into the convo, don't forget to, after you subscribe, because some of you guys visit the channel and leave, subscribe. And after you subscribe, don't forget to click the notification bell so you know when we are dropping brand new videos. And shout out to everyone who wants to become a private member. We've got a beautiful community where we're planning lots of things with our private community. We're almost 100 now. That community needs to grow. By the end of next year, we need to be 1,000, guys. Let's be intentional about it. Our private community where we discuss investments, we discuss giving back to our communities, we discuss progressive things. Become a part of those private members. That'll cost you about 20-something rands a month just to keep the lights on. He's a legend. He started at YFM. He's an entrepreneur. He's the morning host of the biggest commercial radio station in South Africa. I've been blessed to have witnessed him when he was still brand new in the game. And I prophesied it.
You did.
I prophesied it. I called it. I called it. I knew it.
No, you did. No. That one is you, bro. You did. I'll never forget that day. I was on air doing 12 to 3. And it happened. I was like, Facebook. And then I got it, man. And then you also shared it on Twitter at the time, TweetDeck. But yeah, bro. But you've always been that OG. I remember hustling you, why, at Rosebank, but there was always a lot of us. Masfika winding. And then was I back door that day?
Yeah, back door.
Smooth. So. And then I saw your friends like these at the shoots. And I used to carry around my MP3, which had all my demos in all languages at the time. And then you listen to it. And then you said I must come through. And then something happened. I ended up not coming through. I think I'm going to and yeah, but fast forward, it's
proud of you, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Even at times where you feel like, am I really, what am I fighting for? Like, so much. Muhle njalo all the time.
How does it feel to host a Metro FM breakfast show?
It's still surreal, but I'm very aware of the moment. And it's something I'm always reminding the team. I think sometimes when certain things start coming through, challenges, the pressure, it's easy to complain. But I'm like, we're complaining at the highest level in the industry right now. This is a very it's one of the most impactful seats you'll ever get on radio. Period. It's the pinnacle of any person of Funuksagaza, especially in the English medium. So I'm very aware of how high I am. I'm very aware of the mandate and the demands and the pressure that comes with this position. And every single day I take it as it comes. Every single show I take it as it comes. You know what I mean? There's no thing with your kusasa no sla. Namhlanje sla. Every link as it comes. You know what I mean? Yeah.
How did it all start?
Yo, radio. Radio Kalem, 14, Love Life, Emandeni. But I would say Guti Radio has always been
from KZN?
Yeah, Ngwasemandeni.
Oh, I didn't know, bro.
Yeah, Ngwasemandeni.
Okay.
No, every time as I think because I've become so multilingual and I've just exposed myself to various provinces Nabantu, so it's very hard to pinpoint Uti Mwagupi. Some people say I'm Xhosa, some people say I'm from Soweto, some people say I'm Zulu. I'm like, no, I'm South African, proudly African. But originally, Ngwasemandeni, born eThekwini, ngahlala eMnambithi, moved to Emandeni most of my life, matriculated at Friday after my mom had a stroke. 14.
I'm sorry about that, bro.
Yeah. 14, introduced to radio, did radio at Love Life Y Center. Then I was moved to a Freiheit after my mom had a stroke because my family felt I was focused so much on the radio, it was affecting my studies. So I stayed no auntie. And then while I was there, man, I had a cassette tape because the radio requires you to consistently be active. So I had a radio tape. I would always listen to about Trevor Williams and most of the guys that would play music that would speak to what I'd like to do and just record myself via the headphones I was connected at just to keep the skill going. And then every time when it's holidays in Willem and then access to the studio, get some airtime going on. Then I matriculated 2007, made the decision, I want to know more about this thing. Like, radio makes me happy. If my break is going to come, I don't know where it's going to come. It might be on air, it might be off air. But if it's off air, what else exists? And how does this thing whole function? So I came up to Johannesburg, I found enemies. I couldn't afford Boston Media House. Bamncane wangitholela loan, age loan. So mangifike eJozi, antu angihlanganisa no Putus Uvusi. Ngahlala eGeorge Koch
ngase-hostel
yeah bengihlala eMadala vele hostel number 52. So mangifika, that was my entry point eJozi. Yeah, man, it wasn't the greatest of landing spots eGauteng, because for some men amaphuphapelela laphana, everyone is mhlamusha life and you're restarting, or that's all you've ever known at Jose. Because I've always been one mangifike eMadala machita hlalet hayi once amaflat amthatha ngekabuya and that never hit, until I got old and ngahlala emaflatini ukuthi yes masemaflatini, because the memories asema-hostela, like, they were not really the greatest. The journey going back e-hostela, uriya ngetrain under the bridge, inkonzi inyukile ngewinter kuyabanda, zonke lezi zinto nje wasn't the most beautiful memories, unless you talk about the weekends, especially Magdalene Chiefs and the Pirates. Only one unit will probably have a TV, then everyone comes together, so buki TV, or amachitas or Puma, that's where the ladies stay, outside of a hostel. So those are just some of the memories that kind of make me happy, but everything else, I was just consistently working hard to get out of a hostel. And then, 2008, ngiyafunda, while ngifunda ngishaya demo the whole year, because I have access to a studio at Nemisa. So ngishaya demo the whole of 2008, because I'm already working on 2009. Because my pela lendo geleza, because it was a 1-year course, I was always thinking, hey, what's going to happen with 2009? So I got to kill this thing, get the highest grades, become a very top student. So this will support the next level, which is to get into radio. 2008 shama demo ngiyageleza. 2009 I feel strong about the demos I'd recorded. Shama shows ebusuku namajita. Just to get the skill going, we created our own frequency, 91.9. Yeah, well, just to get us going, the vibe, 2009, I felt like I was strong enough. Sent my demos to pretty much every station that existed in this republic. Zonke ngathi evulayo ngiyangena. Then I remember Mr. Singh, East Coast Radio, said, "Yo, come down, let's talk, let's do something." I know this is not the call I was waiting for. No, I don't want to go home, because I tried so much. Akaya, when Kakasi transformed from P4 to Kakasi, everyone was just bengelulu again. Getting the contact details, and I know not now. KZN ngizoyibona later.
Wow. So you said no to an opportunity, though?
No, not at home. I don't want to be close to
East Coast is a big station.
Massive. But I felt like being at home, I was going to be stuck in a circle. I didn't want that at that age. Then I know it's cool. You know what I mean? I told him I'll come back at a later stage. Then Ian Brennenkap hits me up from KFM. The Gaps number Ian Music Stasi. He says, "Come down to Cape Town. Let's see what we can do." I was like, yeah, no, this is a challenge. New language. Cape Town is quite foreign. I was not really aware. It's far from home. I'm doing Bonisanani on SABC 1 here in Joburg, so I can fund the flights.
Also, you're doing Bonisanani already?
Yeah, I'm doing Bonisanani at that
Tell
time
me,
on
what is
SABC 1.
Bonisanani?
It was a kids' religious show on SABC 1. So that was my break onto TV. So I'm doing Bonisanani. I'm an intern Monday to Friday. Then I get this opportunity to do what I've always wanted to do, radio in Cape Town. So I'm doing 12 to 3, sometimes 1 to 4. So now...
Midday?
No, Epsu.
Oh, Ntatago's. Oh, graveyard slot.
Graveyard slot. Okay. So Monday to Friday, ngisha internship. Friday, ngisha flighty. Go down to Cape Town, do my show 12 to 3, take the earliest flight, red eye, come up to Joburg, shoot Bonisanani on weekends. So that was my life, 7 days. You know what I mean? Especially when you're shooting on a hectic schedule. But that moment was good. I was like, this is what I want to do. I'm doing radio, I'm doing TV. But that's where also the problem started, because the TV money is funding the flights. The radio money is pretty much funding the flat. The interpretation money is to just now there's that circle. And then it got to a point I was like, no, so I spoke to Doc Fick and I asked him to release me. Doc Fick was my boss at Nemisa. I was like, please release me from my internship. Then I relocated to Cape Town. Mangfie Cape Town in Elita Park. I'm like, George go foot. Elita Park at the time, it's this new development in Cape Town. It was around 2009. It was still a new location. Fairly better than to the States it is at this moment. But it was another challenge. Here's this dream that I'm trying to work on. Elita Park, in Kibela Mategisi, one day a colored guy calls me a Bobian and doesn't want to sit next to me. It's a culture shock. Good, what the? Nalafut. I was like, okay, cool. It is what it is. And that was my reality for a while. Did Cape Town. Remember Ian and Jan offered me weekend slot. Then I was like, nah, Ian.
Same station.
Yeah, KFM. Jan, he sat me down. He wanted to offer me something on the weekend. I was like, actually, I think it's time for me to leave Cape Town. I'm not ready for the city. I just wanted a little bit more. I wanted to do this TV thing, radio thing, voiceovers. Just wanted more, and I felt like I got that more in Joburg. Plus, I felt like I got my stripes now. You know what I mean? When I come to Joburg, I can say I've worked for a commercial station. You know what I mean? It's Prime Media, it's KFM. It's a massive deal. I've put in my hours. It's time to come to Joburg.
And how long were you in Cape Town for?
8 months.
Okay.
That's
less than a year?
Less than a year. So ngakhuluma no Ian, ngacela transfer, connected me to Highfeld at the time, which is under Prime Media. Makhotso. Oh my gosh, forgot her name. She was still the program manager at Highfeld. Stefan was the programming coordinator. I met them. Then I got that was my way in at Highfeld. Did Highfeld until April.
What show did you do?
Same. I was doing Graveyard, 12 to 3. Doing shows just after Sammy T, Starstruck everything, Mono Sammy T, Daipsu, Brett Brown, like, yo, of it. But now the thing is, I say Highfeld, and I'm realizing, like mentally, these people are going through different problems. You know what I mean? I remember sometimes I chat with Sammy and he'll be telling me about his house problems and Sentin, house leaks. I'm like, yo, mfana mina ngistresswa ukuthi ngizofika kanjani esipanini. Linking to Brad Brown and just all these other legends at the time, they were doing their thing. I was like, no, man, I need to go at Y. Fact is, I need to find my way at Y. But Y was just it was just too cool. Everyone was just, and it seemed like a tight ship. And then there was no other option. As in, I've realized Guti, most of the people that kind of get interviews at the Y Academy, it's the ladies. So Mahotso, a friend of mine, gave me an opportunity to use her account on yfm.co.za. I apply. Then she was called in, but it was my details. Kumula, when I got to YFM for my Y Academy interview, Sol Pendu got Mahotso, it's me. So that became a joke. Good Mahotso. You know what I mean? And then Mang Fiato, why did you do that? And I've just realized when I look at all the people that made it to the Y Academy interviews between 2000 and 2009, the ladies usually got a shot for the interviews. So I wanted a shot in. You know what I mean? And then I told my story, and they just found it very. There was some form of dedication. You were even willing to create a new identity, whatever, just to get the shot for an interview. I was like, that's how bad I want this. But they're like, you're already on Highfield, you're already on TV, you already did 945. Why do you want to be here? I was like, I genuinely feel like this is where I need to be at this point in my life. I think Y is going to help me find my voice. I think Y is going to help me discover who I truly am behind the microphone. You know what I mean? And I think everyone who is in this space is going through life challenges just like I am. And yeah, fast forward, I got the call, joined the Y Academy internship program, 6 months, starting all over again. Now got to prove myself again. And that was 6 months of an exciting journey. You know, seeing legends like yourself walking through that gate, walking in at YFM and seeing everyone's faces, like one day, my face is going to be there. One day I'm going to have a key and say my name. YFM, DJ Sab. It's like, that's what we're working towards. One day I'm going to get behind the microphone. Doesn't matter what slot it is. Dumela, the program manager at Y.
Diaho.
Yeah.
Dumela Diaho. I miss you, bro. We had great times at Y, man. Shout out to all the great work you did in changing young people's lives.
Man.
Appreciate you, man. Miss you.
Dumelo. Shout out to Dumelo, man. Really one of those program managers that was tight. And I'll say like he had a whip.
Was Vu still there? Vu went on to become station manager at Kakasi.
So he went to 5.
So he had just left Y.
Yes, he had just left Y. Dumelo, taken over. This was 2010. 2010. You were about to leave 2010. I think 2010.
Yeah, I was going to go to Metro,
Yeah.
I left for Metro.
And then, man, it was 6 months of proving myself at Y. Then Dumelo, I remember after Ground Zero was a 4 to 5 slot at YFM where after a certain time in an internship program, everyone gets a shot to be on the air. And Ground Zero was a massive moment. Everyone listened to that thing. You know, from the legends as Boo, everyone who was on air at Y, because sometimes it would make it as airtime, some of the moments that happened on Ground Zero, and you just wanted your moments to always be dope when they play them. Even if it was funny, but you just wanted to make that recap moment. And then, man, remember my first Snoop session? Snoop sessions where we meet up with the program manager. Dumela's like, what are you doing? Like, Mvana, like, this, are you serious? I was like, what you mean? And he's like, yeah, this is why. I want to hear you. Yeah, don't come here with...
I want
to hear you. I want to hear you. This... Yeah. Be yourself.
Yeah, man.
That's what he kept emphasizing. Just be yourself. You know what I mean? Let's talk after 3 more shows. Man, now you go home, you're like, okay, Gandhi, haven't I been myself all this time when I was on the radio? Now Sias Booze again. And you go through different phases when you go through this journey of being a radio DJ. You try to sound like the legends you look up to, the people you look up to, the ones that you've always heard, and you try to become something that you're not. And then one day you just be yourself and people respond. And you're like, okay, cool. It's what I did at that moment. That's me. Oh, that's me. Then the more you do that, and then you realize, okay, cool, I'm unique to everyone else that exists in this lineup. But still on the YFM journey, then fast forward, Dumelo said there's something we can work on, gave me a shot, gave me the traffic contract. This is where I read traffic for the different shows at Y. And then also I was given a stand-in contract. But officially I was like, okay, cool, I'm inside now. And that's how my journey at YFM started. 2 years of traffic, 2 years of standing in. Officially got my show 2012, 12 to 3 a.m., the adrenaline rush. Moved over to 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. And I think that's when the trajectory of my career really
took off.
Because what I did there was insane. Even what I did at night. And the more I reflect on my career, it's some things you don't take to heart or you don't think about it because it gives you a head. High numbers and just consistency with my on-air presence have just never been low. I've always been fortunate enough that whatever show I do, the people resonate, and it shows with the numbers. 12 to 3, it was an insane show. But also because why there was that thing with show. Slots, lad. Don't come through and do a show because you think you got to put in your best effort when you get your shot on breakfast or drive or lunch. Any show you get here, you got to kill. And I think that's, even when you look at how Abo McGee made the Morning Glory a hit, 3 to 6, by the time you took over, the energy was already
He used
here.
to give me high numbers.
Yeah,
when I'd come in at 6 o'clock, McGee, when he leaves, he's giving me high numbers. And this guy is like from graveyard from 3 in the morning. He made the 3 to 6 slots in the morning seem like a prime.
Yes.
And it's a youth station.
Yes.
The youth are awake at the time.
But that was the culture at Y, is that no one drops the ball. Like when you hand over the ball, you're handing it hot. So whatever slot you did, you had that mentality to go, okay, cool, the degrees are 99.2. It can't drop. And that kind of kept you on your toes throughout. And fast forward, I think after that, my hard work, dedication got me into daytime, 12 to 3.
Tell me about that meeting when they told you you want to do 12 to 3.
It was a mess. I admit that was a mess. So photo shoots, YFM, lineup, abantu bayavaya. No, I'm an offer.
Oh, okay, yeah, my offer, yeah.
So Tando first leaves. Tando was supposed to get 9 to 12.
So Tando Tabeto goes to
5.
5, yeah. I remember she started at 5.
Yeah. No, me and I was doing 9 to 12. Tando's doing 12 to 3. So Dumela kind of set this lineup. It's okay, cool. Finally launched Tando at 9 to 12. Waras moves to drive, I think, because Waras was on 12 to 3. Or Waras is at 12 to 3. And then moved Waras to drive. But that plan just collapsed. And the lineup was made during that photo shoot. Dumela was a mess, miserable, calls me in, says, yo, you're doing 12 to 3.
Yo, kanjalo nje.
That's, wait, what you mean? You're doing 12 to 3? We'll sort it out.
He didn't even call you and tell you in person in a meeting over the phone?
No, there at the photo shoot.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, keep this between you and I. You're not telling anyone.
Yo. Finally.
Man, you shy photo shoots, you emotional. Vanna, that day I didn't even care about my outfit.
And you can't share no anyone.
I can't share with anyone. No one. Even when I went for my negotiation, I was so happy. I don't even think I negotiated. Because now I'm in daytime. I could feel what, okay, man. Like, because I've always wanted to be a weekday DJ. I think some of us, if you're weekend or you're weekday. I was like, I know I'm a weekday guy, Monday to Friday. Put me in any slot, we'll eat it up. Then I got my shot, 12 to 3. Then had to find a co-host. Went to Tepi. It was absolutely amazing. We had a great run, the best thing ever. We moved over to drive. The show was extended to 3 to 7.
So you did 12 to 3 for how long?
Did that for 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, yeah, 3 years.
And then what happened? How you got the drive?
I got called in. It was time. I thought I was going to get it the previous year when they gave it to Lisa.
Yeah.
And that was just a weird moment, man, like how that whole thing played out. So I remember March, I get a call. It was March. I remember I was at Greenside. I used to host Friday nights there. I get a call from a journalist from Sowetan. I was like, hey, what's happening there, why? Apparently you turned down drive. I was like, turn down drive? Why would I do that? After doing lunch for a good period, why would I do that? There's a time after Mo left. Mo
Mo goes to Metro.
To Metro.
Yeah.
And Mo says on the air, I think it's obvious that Sabby's going to take over.
He says that.
He says that when he leaves. He's like, all the best to whoever's taking over, but I have a good feeling that's going to be Sabby. I was like, shout out to Mo. It's a good, cosign.
Yeah, good cosign.
For someone who is of that stature and for what he's done in the 9 years at Y. Then, told my colleague, congrats.
Yo.
No, guys, wait. Then get a call from Mutuli. It's a long chat. Tells me, yo, man, they're offering me drive. Apparently, you turn it down. I'm like, someone is lying to somebody there.
Oh.
I did not turn down drive. I don't know anything. But you know what? You got my back, bro. Support you. Let's go. Take this thing and run with the opportunity. So Tulisa gets the drive at Y, the Raw Rush. And he has a great run. And then the following year, I'm called in. Good, can I take drive? This was 2015. 2015, yes. And then that's my journey at Y. Did that thing for almost 6 years. Iconic, legendary, I think easily one of the best drive shows in that decade. High numbers, consistency, revenue generating. Really felt, like Mausha into Yaku as with Yala. Yes. Every single day. It was one of those moments. And I had a great run at Y. And when the time came to leave, because I've always said with Y I was going to be there for 10 years. So when I turned 30, I knew it was time. And weird thing, I'll just share the story because you told me this. It was Bospora 2010, forgot somewhere why. So there was this moment where all the YFM DJs, we would chat as a machit. And then you told me on the side, you're like, when I'm a big YFM logo, iwai mnyama around it, ibumfu. Iwai sikwazi letina since we milk this brand around it, ikas lelayo, because we're pushing. And you told me that moment, if you leave Y, you don't have more than 2 houses or 3 houses. You don't have a solid brand for yourself. We as bulls, who am I? And people are questioning your position in society and impact. Then you haven't utilized this platform. So I'm not going to lie. When I look back, I was like, bought the first house, 25. Just bought another one. You don't get their connector. I have a kid. I'm thinking of getting married. Yeah, I've done my thing. When you reflect and you look at yourself and you look at the credits and I really did it. You know what I mean? And you're like, 10 years ago, this legend told me, Guti, if you do this, then you know you're at the right space and mentally to leave. So when that mind kicked in, which is time to go, unfortunately, I signed a 3-year contract at Y. So a part of me felt trapped. But the universe works how it works.
Had you received the Metro FM offer then?
Not
yet?
When I left Y, there was no offer.
You lie!
I swear, I had no offer.
Sure.
Had no offer. So how this whole thing plays out, 2019, Dumelo leaves. Dumelo was involved in an accident. Dumelo is our program manager. And izinto ngiyazifila ukuthi sithanda ukushintsha la. You know what I mean? Like, my boss calls me into the office, asks me, what are your... So she tells me Dumelo's leaving, don't let anyone know. I think myself and Tap were alerted as, the pillars or the flagship shows. Tap was on breakfast, I was on drive. So our boss calls us up to the offices. I think Tap has his own meeting, I had my own meeting. And she just reassured us, don't worry, everything is going... The contracts are still in place, everything's going to move well. So don't stress. I was like, okay. I wasn't even stressed. But fair, since you're telling me, thank you. And then man, like Ikazi and Imoya, I'm very spiritual. Like when the energy changes, I feel it. I felt like the energy was just weird. It was starting to move differently. Then I remember telling my producer Mohau and LTV's my co-host, I was like, guys, I can't, because we now need to start thinking about the show from March. What are we doing in April? I'm like, guys, my brain can't see me saying YFM in April. I can't think anything. Like, I'm blank. I have a feeling this thing ends. I was like, relax. You're overthinking it. Like, okay. So, we go on holiday, come back in Jan, we do our thing. And then they call this meeting up. So I'm a guy who I go to the BRC website. I consume these numbers, all the stuff that's happening within the radio landscape. I consume it because I'm a believer that if you work in a trade, in any industry, you have to know what's happening in the landscape you work in. So they pull up these numbers. It's COVID. No one had radio numbers. 2020, like COVID period, no one had radio numbers. BRC had put up these numbers on the website. They kind of gave us an overview as to how radio was performing throughout. And that moment kind of reassured to everyone, good, the radio's doing actually well. People are tuning into the radio. So I'm looking at these numbers and they're trying to link it up to our performance. I look at the guys. I'm like, something is not connecting. I know this is not a position, because I've learned with experience, sometimes you don't want to argue with people of power in certain rooms. It's better to do it face to face, because you never want to embarrass them or make them look bad in front of their juniors. So I was like, okay, cool. Hey, okay, cool. Mentally, I'd signed it off. Good, I'm leaving. Why? Feb, that's okay, cool. Then March, I go to Hasina. I was like, Hasina, I've reached that point. I think it's time to leave. I can generally tell what's going on. And she had called me and she said they wanted to move me to 12 to 3. Unfortunately, Y is not that platform where you move from a drive or breakfast. It's either you move from breakfast to drive or drive to breakfast. I wouldn't want to go to a 12 to 3. I've done it. And she was like, are you sure? I was like, trust me, I'm very sure. So please, if you don't mind, free me from my contract. She's like, you sure? Then she tried to bring my family into it. I was like, nah, don't worry, I'll sort that out. So it was a short but extensive meeting. Then I come out of that meeting. It's just before my show. Last week of Feb going for March. So I come out of that meeting. First person I call my wife. I'm like, yo, babe, I just resigned.
Yo.
You know, she's like,
panic again.
Nah, dog. Funny, because we've had this chat.
Oh,
my wife wanted me to leave 2018, 2019 already, because she had felt I'd done all that I had to do at Y. But I was in my vibe. I was in my zone. I was like, yo, we're killing this thing. Like, let's go. Yeah. Then she said, perfect. Let's go. We're leaving. Come home, type this thing, and send it through. So, because they can play a very hectic card on me, because I have a contract. Type a very long, extensive resignation letter thanking YFM for everything they've done for me. No, all these things. I said, just write an email that says, hey, thank you very much. It's been great working here. Kind regards out. And then, yes, I sent that letter after she proofread it, and Hasina accepted it and said you could leave. This is March.
2020.
2020. Yeah. First week, Yashaya, then it starts hitting me. Remember on a Friday after doing the show, I'm like, oh man, I got 3 weeks left at Y. So I go to Hasina on Monday. We confirmed my last day. I think it was the 26th. And then from that meeting, I remember asking her, at some point I need to drop the press release. I don't want a situation where
the narrative is wrong.
Yes, the narrative is wrong.
I want to own my narrative.
Can I just also give... I've had 10 years with this audience. Can I at least say goodbye?
A good bye-bye.
You know, and inform them early. She says, I'll come back to you. So I give her room to come back to me. Then I realize I need to call. So I call Sia Figelepi, who was still at 5, program manager. Then I call Tony, who was the program manager, yes, at Metro. Yeah. Those are my top pick stations because I don't want to come across desperate. I'm also a big player in the scene, so if I'm calling everyone, the word goes out. What's going on? So I call those 2 program managers. Figelepi tells me it's proof tight the station. Unfortunately, there's nothing he can do. When I call Tony, Tony's like, Sabby, you're killing me here. Why are you telling me now? I'm like, yo, Tony, like, it's the nature of life. This is where I'm at. This is what's happening. I've left Y. If anything comes up of no SABC, you probably have finished your contracts and everything, but I'm just letting you know. He's like, but I told you need to tell me like 12 months ahead because we've had the chat when I saw Tony Guti. One day I want to join Metro. It's always been a dream. If anything happens, let's chat. And he's always said, call me. And I call him in March. Then he calls me. Tony calls me around Thursday. I was like, Tony is the program manager responding back to me. I ain't gonna go Tony. You know what I mean? Tony calls me, I think it was a Thursday, Friday. He's like, boy, I need proof that you're leaving. You know, I need proof because right now it's something that you and I know, but no one else knows. Then I go to Hasina. I was like, I need to drop a press release that I'm leaving 2 weeks. Celebrate my 2 weeks before my time is up. I need to get a job. Mentally, I'm like, during that time frame, Dumela was a program manager at 947. He's like, would you come this side? I talked to my wife about it. It's like, regional again. Nah, it's time to go national. It's time to go national. It's like to Dumzana, it's cool. Not now. My return to 947 won't be like this. It's cool. Dog, the spirit of faith, the level of belief at this point in time, you think I know I got a job. No. It's just, yes, Timber. I know that God has always worked for me. If I have to do it again, I'll do it again. So I go to Hasina. I'm like, Hasina, we need to drop a press release, man. I need it. I need to communicate to the people that I'm leaving. She's like, okay, cool. You'll drop yours on Friday. So what YFM does, they push up the lineup release to counter my press release on Friday. Mind you, already.
And they don't tell you that?
No, I get word from my plugs up.
Okay.
Good, yo, Mfana, I don't know what's going on, but we were supposed to drop the press release the following week. Now it's been moved up to make the announcement. So they make the announcement internally. By the time my press release comes out, they drop it earlier than mine. So my publicist, Sheila, shout out to Sheila for one time.
Mrs.
Shout out to Mrs. Yes, congratulations. She's like, well, we can play the game. It's chess. It's like, what you mean? She's like, if Phil drops a tweet as a rumor, then we didn't drop a press release. Then Phil, I think it was on a Wednesday, Phil Mpela drops a tweet, a rumor, exclusive, DJ Sabby is leaving Y. Last show, ba. Ha! Yeah, that's all I needed. Zawindong. Dog, you know, that week, I think I was crying every day because you're servicing people every single day behind the microphone, but you're not aware of how impactful it is. As much as you're aware of it, but when you leave someone, I could feel it. Spoon, that thing ran, bro. Across the continent, that press release, the calls, people sharing their journeys. Remember a guy telling me, dog, I once got into an accident. If the last voice I was going to hear was you, some people sharing what I got them through. Some people you've helped along the way, but you forgot. Kids who you've raised practically on radio from primary to high school. Guys who've had kids, and through your presence on the radio, they grew with you. And everyone shared all these stories. It was a revealing moment. Oh, man. Yeah, you know when we call you Hutman and we tell you what you've done for us, I felt that with the generation after me. And then the last week came, I still don't have a job, bro. The last week, when I said goodbye at Y, I didn't have a job. I remember we did a goodbye tour, myself, Cooks, Lebza, and we just went across the country, you know, and we called the tour When We Were Black, because all of us were mad at Y. We were all mad. It was me. All of us had left. It was like a Y exodus. It was myself, Cooks, Scoop, Bontle. I think there was 8 DJs who left at that time. So it was like a zap sign to Y.
Yo,
it was bad.
It reminds me of when I left with Thomas and Fresh, and when we all simultaneously left, and we did the same thing. We all did gigs.
Yes.
It
was insane. The last one we had Ricky perform. We did at Bahamas. It was a mess. And I think that tour kind of gave us
confidence.
Good. Yes.
We're a big deal.
We are who we say we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we are unapologetic about it. And there's nothing they can do about it. I'm a contractor to Pelile. Shout out to Ri also. He rocked with us the whole way. And then I wake up in the morning. I think Tony calls me. I have a meeting with them at one of the pizza joints. I'm thinking, I Tony show manje. I miss Bongi that day.
Plus vele nakungeni call kaTony.
That's a call I don't miss. No, it doesn't matter how I feel.
I know.
Tony says, let's have pizza. We do pizza. But this is a meeting of getting to know me. Nothing is going on. Now, Thomas has made the announcement that he's leaving Metro. You also hit me up and you say congratulations on getting 12 to 3 because word has gone that I'm leaving Y. So everyone now is saying it's obvious. It's obvious. Sebby's getting 12 to 3 Metro. Now I'm starting to believe it, mate. I don't know.
Yeah.
12 to 3. Yo, 12 to 3. Inside. Yo, Metro 12 to 3. Yeah. Sounds right. Feels good. What am I going to call it? So I'm starting to brainstorm. Nah. Then I have this meeting with Tony. And then the following day he calls me. We have a Zoom. It's like, listen, I don't know who you pray to and how you do what you do, but ulbonge lako because the lineup has just changed. So we're offering you 9 to 12. I'm like, 9 to 12. In my head, I'm like, yo, which one? Ask a man. Huh?
Yeah.
He's like, top 40. I'm like,
You're like,
wow.
Saturdays. Just one show a week.
One show a week. So I do that.
Yeah.
So he gives me my rate. So when he gives me my rate, he says, the number he says, so I'm thinking because I come from a background where we got a rate per show.
Per show, yeah.
He says per hour.
Yeah.
Like how much? Per hour.
Yeah.
So the hustler in me, because you don't accept the first offer.
Yeah.
I told him 8,300
Yeah.
per hour. He's like, for one show, let me see what I can do. You never get what you asked for. He gave me, I think, half of it. And told the wife, and the wife was like, yo, it's Metro.
It's an entry point. That's exactly what I did.
It's Metro.
One show a week.
One show a week.
And I was promised breakfast because they told me Kenny Maestri was going to leave the following year.
Yeah.
It was towards the end of 20... Because you remember I left White 2010.
2010,
right?
yes.
I mean, I'm thinking, shout outs to Leslie Ntogo, Grootman. Grootman sits down with me. Grootman says, Kenny Maestri is leaving next year. And I think it's around this time, October, November. So it's like 4 months or so. Next year, March, you have Kenny Maestri and breakfast at Metro. I'm like, Grootman, serious? He's like, but that's between me and you.
Yeah.
Marugwa manje. Ngifuna ukuthi angasimeli next year. Ngifuna uzwakale manje.
Fanele bakufike.
Mara into enginayo manje for ishow ngama-Saturday.
Yeah.
That's how I joined Metro. Ngama-Saturday. My mentor says to me, including Greg Maloko. Greg, I go and consult him. I sit down, we have a conversation. Greg says, take that one show, Mfanagiti, and moor it. Moor that show so much so that you create your own flippant garden with just that one show. It's going to open doors for you. And that's exactly what I did. When time comes, Grootman Alva, Kenny Maestri the following year, breakfast. But I was okay with it. But I was just saying, even for others out there who always, you deserve bigger shows and blah, blah, blah. When you get something smaller, go take that something small and make it big.
That's true. You're right.
And that's what you did.
That's what I did.
So you took the Saturday show.
I took it.
That's a top 40, right?
I ran
That's
with
the
it.
one that Adil was doing.
Adil did it. Sammy T did it. Lucy Ten did it.
I remember when Sammy T did
Yo.
Who doesn't listen to the Metro FM
Come
top 40,
on,
bro? Like Saturday morning,
Come
bro.
on. So in my head, I'm like, okay, cool. Lendonye, I'm going to kill this thing. Music is my thing. Like, music, cooking up a music show. If that's what I got to do, all right. I see you again. I was like, if people can mention Sammy T, Adil, and me, I made it in a history book, so let's work. Did the first month. Then I had a gig at Disofeng. I'll just share the story. Because for me, the story was...
and once you get into Metro, the gigs, my man, they start coming nationwide. You're like, yo.
Zonke.
So it's not about the salary. It's about what it brings for your life.
What it brings, the access. Now you're operating at a very high level.
Didn't you get shocked when you got that mic and the feedback? You're like, I've always known this station is huge, but not at this level.
I felt like I was starting radio all over again. Everything is just different. I'm not going to lie. Everything you can imagine about Metro, everything you can imagine about that moment and how it feels like it's that accelerated and like amplified on another level. It was out of a body experience. It was godly. Mind you, I've had so many opportunities to enter the Metro FM studios, but I've always said the only time I'll enter Metro is the day I get my job. I've released songs in my career, and every time I had opportunities to do interviews, I'll do them telephonically. Because that moment, I was saving it for the day I joined Metro. And when that moment happened, it felt it was an avalanche. It was thunderstorms. I remember doing the photo shoot ngaphandle, wearing my T-shirt, and my cap, and I'm like, yo, this is the picture for a press release. I'm joining the mighty Metro. It's like, even to this day, it's still, because in Kule Mini Metro,
it's the pinnacle
it's
of
the
SA
pinnacle.
radio, bro.
It's the highest level. It's that kid in me from Emandeni meeting this version of myself. I'm like, we really did it, dog. Like, we're doing it. We at Metro, you know? We inside. And you look around you, you're like, these people are my colleagues, dog. Like, Wilson, when I say hi to Wilson, he says my name back.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to the OG. And just the ambience around the station was so welcoming. And I think because most people who had Metro had built relationships with and
Prior.
were aware of one another, and they were anticipating my arrival at Metro. So there was that welcoming that felt very organic, and it felt so cool. I was like, yeah, this is where I should be. This is where we're at. And then fast forward to the moment in Chelangayo, when I was in Tisofeng. So going through my thoughts, Puzamans, I don't know what I was drinking, but I was going through my things. Kune out here, so it is SABBY. Man, I don't understand it. I don't think I'll ever understand it. Siya now. We got to find a new drive show. We've been listening to you for all these years. You left that drive show for one show a week. It just does not make sense. And I'm hoping in time we'll understand. But right now, I understand. But one thing you have to do with this show that you've got, you must punch so hard that people who've ever doubted and questioned or curious as to who you are, they must understand why you don't belong on a 1 week. You're not a 1 week guy.
One show a week, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to create a way that we must extend on Monday, siyakumbula. By the time it's Friday, siyakumbula. Make yourself memorable that whole week. And that guy changed my whole approach to how I did the top 40, because now what I did come May, it's my second month at Metro, I was like, okay, cool, we're going to use digital to create appointment listening. We do the show on Saturdays, Monday, Shama Highlight. Tuesdays, we do a recap of the charts. Wednesdays, I'm starting to push who do you think is joining us on the top 30 this coming week, top 40 on the weekend. Thursday, I'm dropping snippets of some of the interviews. Fridays, I'm dropping music news and just hints. So by the time we get to Saturday, all of these trails that I've left throughout the whole week, by the time we get to Saturday, it was a movie. And it all stems from that chat I had with that guy. I gotta make sure that when I punch, they feel it. So social media was my off-air playing spot. Then I created Top 40 visual, where I did a video version of the Top 40, where if you missed it, these are the top 5 tunes, and that also took off. The artists were amplifying it. Then I realized, the Metro FM Top 40 does not have a face. When I say it doesn't have a face, I'm mentioning the number one songs, but there's no artwork. It doesn't connect. Then I started creating artworks. Then what would happen is that when we drop the number one songs, I ensure that the artists are tagged, because now the artists are exposing it to the
repost or retweet.
We are born.
And they've got a big community, yeah.
Now my brand is consistently going out there, because what's the point of being number one on the biggest station in this country if people don't know about it? The artists need to know. I remember when Casper became number one and he was posting that thing all over. That was an amazing PR moment for me. I was sitting there like, yeah, this is why it's important to use social media and digital, marry the two to amplify the whole experience. And then everything took off. I literally changed the experience on a Saturday. RIP to Paul Shongwe. I remember her texting me and said, "SABBY, I don't think you understand what you've done to Saturday radio. You've made it a highlight. You made us look forward to Saturday. You've made us want to wake up on Saturday and listen to you. Some of us best vote and just faggy USB, keep it moving. But you made me look forward to Saturday." And that meant so much to me, that when the numbers came out, that I had the number one show on Metro, holistically, across the station, my hard work made sense. Like, yeah, I work hard for that. Those numbers are my hard work. It felt so good. First year at Metro, number one show across the board. And at that point in time, I'm not even thinking, okay, cool, next year I'm guaranteed another show. I'm guaranteed weekday. I'm like, okay, cool, Sam again. When I was called in for a meeting, there's still nothing available. It's fine. You know what I mean? There was not even an argument or fighting. When opportunity comes, I'm ready. I'll still do stand-ins. I'm ready. I'm here to work. You know what I mean? Left, called the wife, babe, not moving. I'm still here. And then God works how he works, man. I think showing up consistently, just being dedicated to the work, people can say whatever they want to say, but my story, I always say, my story is proof which your hard work will open up the doors. And it's just a matter of you consistently delivering to your word, to the quality of the work that you deliver, that will keep you at in that position, and it will open up more opportunities for you. That's how I got here. It's just my work and my talent and my dedication and showing up and never dropping the ball. None of this goes to my head. I've never done this thing to be cool or to be famous. For me, it's panilis. You know what I mean? I'm here to deliver, to serve the nation, the best mornings, the best breakfast show, so people look forward to a best day. That's it, period. Ogunye get my ex, so they come with the platform. So when they gave me an opportunity in May, when the word came out, Dine was leaving, and they were giving me 9 to 12, that's another challenge in my story. You know, the last guy to do 9 to 12 was Mr. Ike Patla, another legend who's now Radio 2000. I'm getting to work with a legend, Tato, who's my producer. But now, the 9 to 12 slot on Metro, no, a guy 35 years ago was the last guy to hear it. For me,
but by the way,
challenge.
mentioned Tato from the Unrestricted Breakfast Show with DJ Fresh.
Yes.
You guys remember Tato and
Yes.
Tato? That's the Tato that produces.
Yes.
Sure.
Tato TSI with Amon.
Yeah.
Big fan of his work, big fan of his mindset, and great guy with Naked to hold my hand through that moment. And we did it, man. We did 9 to 12, and I think we had a great run. So when 8 months later I was called in, say I'm taking over breakfast, I was like, okay, cool.
Yo, when did you hear that Mo is leaving?
So I didn't know Mo was leaving. I thought probably they're moving him to another show.
Yeah.
Because when I was called in, they don't tell you about other people's stuff. They say to you, this is what we have for you this year. Are you down for it? They give you the reasons why they feel like you're the guy for the job. I was like, yeah. There was no second doubt. There was no thinking twice. I was like, yes. Said that saying yes while I was crying because yes, let's go. And during that moment, I remember when they wanted to go to the other parts of the contracts, it's like, guys, I'm so emotional. Let me go think. Let me take this moment. Let me go home. I'll come
Dreamt
back.
about this all your life, bro.
Now I can't think of money and all the other stuff. Angsanizwa. I remember saying to Sis Kina, no, Sia, guys, everything else you're saying right now, angizwa. Like, I'm yo, kuning. And we're kind enough to say, okay, cool. Hamba, and then khulume kusasa masuyekile ukuba emotional. That's okay, cool. Man, I still feel that feeling I had that day, I still feel it to this day. Every time when I wake up in the morning, like, yeah, dog, I'm doing breakfast on Metro. You know what I mean? You know, Amachit always say it's the Porsche of radio. It feels good.
Yeah.
But it comes with so much pressure, and I think that's the pressure that keeps me on my toes. It keeps me waking up every single morning. It keeps me dedicated to the craft, and yeah, that's how we got to this point.
What time are you up?
Winter, I wake up at 3:30 so I can download the English. Then I get out of bed at 4. Winter, summer, I'm 4 manje. 4, quarter to 4. Phuza amanzi, catch up a little bit on what I could have missed while in Lele. And then I get into the shower. I'm in the studio by 5:30, 5:45 when we see each other before the throw forward. But yeah, mentally I'm ready to go.
What makes a good radio show?
What makes a good radio show?
Oh, let me put it this way. What makes a good breakfast show?
I think it's creating...
Oh, by the way, bring the camera here. We're both doing national radio. We're both doing morning shows. We bump into each other at the entrance almost every morning. And we've got a track record behind us. But still, they always say you're only as good as your last show. So what makes a good breakfast show?
I think it's delivering on the promise. It's delivering on the promise that you had promise when you took over the show. I made a promise that this thing's going to be the best mornings. I want people to look forward to a brand new day, and I want to keep that every single day. I want to keep that feeling every single day. I want you to be aware of what's happening around the world, but I don't want you to depress you so much. I want you to, I always say it's a platter that we offer our listener every single morning. Take your croissant there, take your scones, take your guinya if you want it, take all of this, but feel good while you're doing it. We can't be ignorant to what's happening in and across the world. We can't be over serious, but we can have a great balance of all of those emotions. We take people through an emotional journey as we deliver this. It's a fun-filled edutainment experience that you can't compare it to anything else that's broadcasted between 6 and 9 in Metro. And I say I think that's my upper hand, is that for as long as I've been doing radio, even when you described how you experienced me, it was a combination of different people. Like, I'm fortunate where you say, hey, Sebi you can't say I sound like a Fresh, I sound like a Glenn Lewis. So that kind of allows you to put me in my own space mentally and experience me for who I am and experience my team for who they are. And also what I think makes a great show is when the chemistry amongst us as a team is very authentic and aligned, because it's one thing to put all this prep, but it's the chemistry that takes all this prep that we've collected across the globe to serve with you. We bring that with our personalities. And if everyone gets their room to share their bits and how they view this content, how they experience this content, with giving each other the allowance of time to share those moments to the listeners. The listeners also figure out who resonates with them the most within the show, and that kind of keeps them coming through every single day because everyone else's presence is felt on the show. So it's an experience that we curate every single morning that makes you look forward to a brand new day. There's so many components to it that people will never know, the deliverables with the commercial part and all the other side, but I think it's just that promise that what you went through yesterday is not going to happen again today. It's that promise we put our best foot forward. And I think that's why features like the Spiritual Alignment have done so well, is because as much as I found that component of a gospel song at 7:30, to bring a SABBY experience, it's like, it just does not make sense. A gospel song, I'll sing something before ngom. And that's how that moment took off. It was like, let me just tell you, you know what, today, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then I play the song. The song has more meaning because now there's a message that comes with it. It's like, Kumamako, aknigis kaftin barakai malo kera. You feel more full. And that's what I feel like we did with the Spiritual Alignment and everything else with the show. And just flipping the script a little bit on how people experience breakfast radio. We're in a attention economy which is very tight right now. People listening to a whole lot of things. I'll say our challenge is, back then they used to say the aux is our competition, the USB is our competition. I say our competition right now, notification. A young person listening to the show on their phone, one notification from YouTube that says Usbu just uploaded a new episode. Your programming at that moment needs to be very hot for them to push that notification back and still stay with you, because once they click, they're in another universe. You know what I mean? So I'm aware of all of that that's happening around me. And also I'm competition to different provinces, 9 provinces. I can't be ignorant to what about Wackhead and all the other guys in Cape Town are doing, Abo Felix are doing in KZN, and Abo Complexion are doing in Limpopo. I'm aware of all of the guys doing their thing across the country. That's why when I take time off, I listen, I check out all my competition, because you can't ignore what's happening across. I'm not saying look back and be worried, but be aware of what your competition is doing. You can't be ignorant. We're not alone in this game. So I'm aware of everybody. I listen to a whole lot of radio. And then that just keeps me aware.
To the thousands of incredible jocks, we've got over 300 radio stations in the country.
Yeah.
To the thousands of jocks that are all doing shows and would like to be on either morning or afternoon drive, and to the millions of young people who are dreaming to sit in that seat of a morning show. It doesn't have to be Metro anywhere. What type of a person do you have to be to carry a show like that?
Hey, you have to have thick skins, bro. I think number one, you have to have thick skin. The thick skin is needed because not everyone is going to like you. You also got to have a thick skin because anything can happen. We're living in an era of digital, and we've experienced a few moments where you deliver great radio every single day, but you have one moment of content that is decoded differently online by someone, and they can take that content piece and push it whatever narrative they want because they only saw that part and that's all they heard. They didn't listen to the full programming or how that thing was executed to lead to that moment on air, and that could put you in a very weird position.
True. The Chidima thing happened on my show. And then went on to social media, became something else.
You know, I've had a few moments, on my show, but those moments also kind of teach you to now start being aware of the fact that what you put online is just as important as what you put on air. And your digital team also needs to be very aware of how we put that on the air. If we're putting it as a recap, it might be better than just putting it at one moment. It's always good to have all the questions or the 5 W's and an H answered with just that clip when you put it out on air. So when someone is trying to attack you, they're attacking you from a context where they understand how it started and how it ended and not just going for that one moment. And I think in the past 6-7 months, that has been working to our advantage by also producing with the detail the content we put out on our digital, because it's just as important so people understand it, how we got to that moment, and not just take what they want and create whatever content they want so they can gain traction and followers. Because some people, that's all they want.
Yeah.
They just want traction. They just want followers. They just want mentions. They really don't care about how you feel and whatever. And that's why we say take it as one show as it comes. So thick skin, very important. Be a sponge for information. I always also say to my colleagues, sometimes we can get stuck up in this universe of just chilling in our own spaces. Meet people. Blomana Bantu, hear them out, chat to people you don't know, and just hear what they're going through. All those moments kind of shape how you engage with people. It updates your lingo. It updates your mindset also on what people are really going through. Ngaphandle, because your source of information can't be the news and the internet. People like to know what you're also living in the world they're living in. And I think that's what I've been doing throughout my years. I've always said I do relation radio, and when I say relation radio, it's people understanding that I'm also going through what you're going through, and we share this on the air, and with the hope that we're going to find solutions, because that's what radio is all about. It's a solution platform. You've been through it, I've been through it, there's someone who's going through it now. When we share our experiences, there's kind of a way for us to move forward. I'm going through this problem. How can you connect me with someone? I connect you with that person. You now know of the opportunities that exist on this day. How's the weather like when you leave in the morning? What's the time? These are all the solutions that we offer in the morning. And I think that's why we're also in the business as we're in as radio practitioners, to offer solutions to the people that listen to us every single day. So that's part of our be a sponge also. Breakfast has forced me to now be open-minded to a whole lot more. I'm not going to lie. If a match was not marketed, I'm big. You know what I mean? If there's no marketing behind the match, I'm big. But breakfast has forced me to watch matches that I don't care about. I find myself watching certain games. I'm like, yeah, it's part of content. My listeners probably are watching that game. Also, it's cool to learn with the listeners. When you put it out there, good to guys. For example, I'm supporting team in overseas. So which team should I support in the EPL? Then people kind of trying to get you into their corner. That's content. We should never get to a point where we feel like we've got to be robotic. I'll just say this to the new generation. What makes a great link is not the fact that you do not have any mistakes. Some people feel like you've got to have a link, a perfect. Metro FM, it's where you want to be. That was. No. You're human. If ungingizile at some point, it's fine. Because not much kuluma so siyangingiza at some point. So you don't have to feel the need to be perfect. A radio is a human listening to a human. It's that experience that makes a person come back to you. So if I relate to you and we resonate to what you're saying, I'm most likely going to come back and experience you. No one wants to listen to a robot. Then I might as well put AI and listen to that. Tell me what song is up next. And I think that's what's going to keep radio top of mind, is for the fact that we are always aware of with the people that are listening to us are people with similar emotions as us. It's an emotional platform. And when I say emotional platform, we take people through emotional journeys. People invite us into their personal spaces, and will always be the most affordable source of information in real time. You know, the immediacy of radio is amazing. So I'll say being a sponge of information, and be very patient, man. I'll say be very patient. Sometimes people tend to feel like is it the finance hamper, so it took a very long time, 16 years to get to where I'm at this moment. I've started over and over and over and over, and I don't think I'm done. I'm probably going to start over again. You know what I mean? Like right now I'm going through a journey. That's why I started my podcast also, is because I'm turning 35 next year, and I feel like it's time to take another risk. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. Something needs to happen next year, you know. And that's why my podcast is around chatting with people who are winning in spaces that are far away from what I'm doing, because I'm trying to pull them closer and learn their worlds. It kind of builds me into the man that I think I'm going to be when I turn 40 in the next 6 years. And I share all of these experiences with the people that listen, and also be very open. Some people are very protective over their own stories when they get behind the mic. My wife hates it sometimes, but I overshare on the radio. Because I think
Chile used to do that.
Yeah,
he used to use himself as a case study for the listeners.
Yes,
and sometimes he would compromise his own privacy.
Yes, because I can't expect my listeners to tell me, Uti, this is what's happening at Jaltine in their house when I'm not sharing. I must meet them halfway. You know, I overshare. Sometimes people tell me things, and I'm like, "How? I shared that on the radio." But I think that's what creates the connection. It's because I'm not holding anything back.
You can relate to you.
Yeah, I can relate to you. It's one of those. I'm creating a bridge that we can always use. That's why I'm saying we're besties. We're besties because I share my part, you share your part. Candace shares her part, Zane shares her part, Owen shares his part. So when you listen to us, it's like it's a tech scene. We're in the car together. We're all going to wherever we're going off. You know, Candace got the GPS. I'm driving. Zandile is telling us what could be happening where we're going. And Oza's that, you know, Lechutman that has solutions to everything. And we're all just jumping in and jumping out. You know, it's part of the journey to our destination. And for as long as we create that, I think we'll forever, you know, be top of mind for the people that listen to us. And for everyone who wants to do what we do, just know it takes time.
DJ Fresh is coming back next year. What do you think is going? He's confirmed on my radio show.
Yeah.
I did an interview with him.
Yeah.
He did say that he only strictly does morning or afternoon.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to say the station. So
Yeah.
he's coming in about less than 6 months, guys. Fresh will be on radio.
He told me.
Yeah. Oh, he told you where he's going? Where is he going?
No. He didn't tell me where
Is
he's
he
going.
going to sit in my seat or your seat?
I don't know. When I spoke to him, he told me what is coming back next year. I was like, it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
It's a great thing. You know, what I'm enjoying at this moment, it's a nice culmination, Smuda, of there's new blood in the old school, and we're all just offering different experiences on the radio.
A variety. The
A
menu,
variety.
for the
menu-
audience, the menu is
yes.
too big. Ngapa, they also have podcasts. How beautiful is that? though? Is radio dead?
Yeah, it's far from being dead. Radio will not die in a very long time. And I say that as a person who loves the medium and as a person who's aware of when the landscape changes, radio changes or radio adapts. Radio's like water. You know what I mean? Radio moves how the industry is moving. Podcast is here. Radio's going to play in the podcast space. We see it happening. When TV came, radio found a way to be visual and entertain and gave a visual experience to the theater of the mind. We kind of like created a stage for it. It's gonna take a very long time for that to become a reality.
When we speak, we don't speak and address you guys as listeners. We
Yes.
address one person
At a time.
Like we're speaking to you right there. Because when you're listening to the experience, you are alone.
Yes.
Even if you're with other people, but you're listening for yourself, right?
Yes.
And that's why when a jock who speaks to you directly as one person always is able, as you say, to you are able to relate to them easier. And that's why when you leave, people then get emotional, they've got things to share because you've touched their life specifically. They feel like they've got a friend. That's why even when you meet them, they get so excited like
Yes.
they know you.
Yes.
And they're seeing you for the first time.
Yes. And I always tell to the new generation, once you understand that radio is not plural, you understand that people kind of become more drawn to you. Because when you say it's directed to one person, it lands differently to that person. So if you're starting out at Graveyard, I just say, bring a teddy bear, talk to that teddy bear. You know what I mean? Tell that teddy bear what song did you just play. Tell that teddy bear which station they're listening to. It becomes part of your vocabulary. By the time you get onto a bigger platform, it's part of a skill set now. It becomes very easy. But it happens. Some people sabbe about, welcome, guys.
It happens. Even me, I make those
Yeah,
mistakes. It's
you know what I
normal.
mean? It happens.
You know, it's
you know
natural.
what I
Don't be
mean?
too
Yeah.
hard on yourselves, guys.
Yes, you know, it happens. But just try. Also, I think it happens to most people when you do both platforms. You do TV, you do radio.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you leave here, now you got to be on a TV set.
And sometimes you're on stage in front of thousands of people, so it
Yeah,
does happen.
it does happen. So don't be hard on yourself.
Podcasting. Let's talk about your podcast.
Yeah.
And congratulations, by
Thank
the way.
you, Sbu.
Finally.
Yo,
What took you so long, bro?
I was focusing on radio. And also, podcasting requires consistency. When we started podcasting, I was playing in the podcasting space before it became in this level. When Max started his podcast, I remember having him on my podcast, and we spoke about his journey. When he started his podcast, I put him on my radio show to talk about his podcast. So I've always been aware of what's going to happen to this world. But one thing I realized early on is that podcasting requires consistency. So what I decided to do when I started podcasting was record things in shows in serious formats. And I used to say part 1, part 2. So I'd record interviews, record, and then would drop them every single week. Then I knew, okay, cool, for the next 8 weeks, I have content lined up. But it got to a point where I saw that people want at least 2 episodes a week. I was like, I don't think I can commit to that. Because I got to do radio, and also I need to have a team with podcasting. I'm actually, I can only work for so long for free, all these things. I said, "Ish, nah." Then I dropped the ball. I focused on the radio. And now I think I'm ready to come back. And I'm coming back with a moment that I'm going through. I'm turning 35 next year. I'm hanging out to people who are the best thing ever. That's what the show is called. It's the best thing ever. Sbu's winning right now in property. How? In this podcast, when you watch, I'm hanging out to people who Sean has built an empire with rockets. I have him on the show, and he's just telling me about his journey. And one consistent thing I'm learning about the podcast, it's the values that people honor and the principles people set for themselves that keep them going. And that for me has been a learning moment to say, for as long as that is good, I think everything else is going to be good. And how everyone has a sense of belief, things are going to play out. I remember when I asked Sean, even in an interview, he was like, dog, I can feel next year. And he was like, bro, I feel like I need to do a risk every 6 months. Because if I don't do a risk or take a risk, I feel bored. I was like, I need to get to that point, you know. I have Kenny Nguna on the interview, one of the youngest guys who is killing it in the transportation sector. You know, Kenny's got 30-something buses at the age of 35, 36. He's killing it. One of the guys who was responsible in setting up the routes for Abo South Point and Amabas, La Bramfontein. You know what I mean? He's been able to create an amazing space for himself in a transportation scene. And I'm just learning so much. I'm like, bro, Kanjan, I'm learning. Tabo Ramet is also on the show. Tabo is a guy people know as an actor, but Tabo is big on owning his intellectual property and owning content that he's putting out. Now he started the Zunguni universe where he's teamed up with Nabo Shalistaron. They're cooking up comics. He's killing it, you know. He's recently got married. He's got a kid. He's building a family, and he's doing all these other things. I'm like, how? And then when you learn his story, you're like, bro, okay, I'm not wrong for feeling the way I'm feeling about this risk that I want to take. And when you watch it, I think for all of us, we can all learn from people who are winning in spaces outside of our comfort zones. I feel like when you put yourself in that position, you tend to become a better person, you know, by taking another shot on yourself on something totally different. And I think that's what I want to do next year. I'm not saying I'm leaving radio, but next year I'm saying, am I playing in technology? Am I playing in recycling? There's something that I'm playing in that's outside of media, outside of broadcasting. That's where I'm mentally at next year.
When do your episodes drop and how often?
I'm going to drop 1 episode a week. as we start, and then we're gonna move over to 2. I'm still going to be doing TV next year, so that's why it's hard to commit to 2. I might do 1 because people will be seeing me on TV, and I still got radio and music. I'm hoping next year I drop an EP. So there's so much on my plate, and I want to be consistent with everything while still being a present father, while still being a very present person to this challenge I'm trying to set on myself next year. So 35 for me is it's going to be a very interesting turning point in my life as to the dream of the man I want to be when I get to my 40s.
Even on your radio show, you mention your kids a lot. You mention your wife a lot. Even on this interview, you've been referencing your wife quite a lot. That support structure. And by the way, congratulations for building a family simultaneously.
Yeah.
And how has that happened? And how are you able to manage that side of your life?
I think for as long as I make time for them. And that's one thing also I'm learning when I chat to some of the Khutmans is for as long as family is good, it's ziyahlangan. For as long as you look out for home, for as long as you take care of home, isn't just ziyahlangan. I don't know how to explain it. And I always say to Amachita, Mfana, take care of your kids. Take care of Mama Sedlin. Isn't as many hlangan. I'm not. Maybe it's the blessings that come with honoring the responsibilities that come with that, and just being there. And I think the presence part also plays a massive role. You know, they say if you are present enough in anything that you want to be great in for 10 minutes a day, you're better than anyone else in the world who's not doing anything about it. So I just try to offer more than 10 minutes a day. I'm a present dad. I'm home. My kids know me. My son knows my schedule. He's getting older now. I took him to gym with me yesterday. He fell in love with it.
Nice.
My daughter's 5 months.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man.
Nice.
Thank you. I saw your baby's now 11.
Yeah, she
grew up so
turned 11
fast.
2 days ago.
They grow up so fast.
Yo,
I remember you posting a man. You just said,
and ingodo zabo, boy.
Slam.
You know, it's 11 going on 21.
Yeah.
Because they engage you like a human. Like ezinye izinto bagay reasoning yokuthi why bangafuni ukuzijula. And then you understand ukuthi son lo muntu lo ringa ngathi una 25.
Kanjani.
And maronzi sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's beautiful to have those convos with your little ones, you know?
It's beautiful, man. So yeah, man, I just make time for them. I think as indota, like in those tanda, you prioritize them.
Yeah.
And
proud of you, bro.
I'm always prioritizing my family. You know what I mean? How much you talk what sometimes man wa jealous bong it ain't fanang peace, but when something sending.
Yeah. Plomeli ngosam.
Sending. Yeah.
Plomeli ngostaka chenta le menkhanyana ngren in the family, I'm sure.
Yes.
Because sometimes you need that.
You need that, bro.
And let's talk about your future. How does that look like?
My future looks great.
Because you've achieved all these things at 34, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy when you put
Yeah, like you're 10 years younger than what? 11 years. I'm 45. I'm turning 46.
But you know what?
So you've done all of that at 34, bro.
But you did. You know, when I look at people like you, Sbu, and I've always told you this, you've always been a risk taker. You had a record label at 21. You know what I mean? By the time you were 25, you've probably already seen 1 million. You know what I mean? More. No, I'm just saying, like, you've probably seen millions. You had done so much by the time you were 30. So when I look at myself, because of what you told me when I was 20, I'm like, did I challenge myself as hard as you challenged yourself when you were 20? And when I look at my other mates in the industry that are doing what they're doing right now, like I look at Abo Ashley, man, Shims is doing some phenomenal stuff.
He's killing it, bro.
You know what I mean? Like what he's been able to build and how he's truly living up this life that he had foreseen for himself. It's hard work. It's dedication. And then you look at yourself, you're like, yeah, I'm doing it, but there's more. You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes me more excited about the future is the fact that I'm aware of what I want to do. I'm aware of the fact that there's more. But I need to understand that the amount of work I've put in now, I need to do double to make certain things happen. You know what I mean? So it's hard to get to a point where I'm like, uncomfortable. No, I don't think one gets to that point. And when I get to the point where I feel like I'm comfortable, I think maybe it'll be time to go home for a solitude experience or some sort. But right now, when I think of because I'm working to, there's this idea I have when I turn 40. We're going to stressing us phone. When I turn 40, and I'm hoping God will give me the faith and the patience and the strength to make that a reality. You know what I mean? Kunezinye njengemali angifuni ukustressa ngenyuke at 40. And I'm hoping God gives me that power and the guidance to be great with how I manage imali. And I think for Amachita Bai, I always say, I used to joke about it at Y, and I still say it, but ngeke udlule 4 weeks ka December.
Yeah.
Something simple like that. Utholi 20,000 mawuqala uDecember as a bonus, phela inyanga uyibhubhudlile le mali. Nah. It's the discipline. It's ukwazi ukuzincisha. You know what I mean? A nice time, because you know January yazwakala, ingcosi zibuyele esikoleni. Imali bekhona, you could have sorted out a few things, but you prioritize bomnandi. And ukhula gets you to that mindset to realize ukuthi angiyagidla namhlanje. Noma usizwe isitoko next door ukuthi ziyawa. Amachito yabona ayapost ukuthi yeah, I can afford namhlanje, but ngizolala, it's fine. You know what I mean? It's that dedication. And it's also getting myself to understand ukuthi we're working towards a greater life for after 40. Nami ngifuna ukufika ku 40. Ngithi angine stress sokuthi ngizo-investa kuphi, but imali ayona inkinga. You know what I mean? And other things.
As we're wrapping it up, faith
is everything. My I talk about my wife a lot. It's because when I lost my mom and when I made that jump from Y, not knowing where I was going, my wife used to always say, what's going to help you during this moment is I will play my part. The kids are going to be here, everyone, but you need to figure out what you believe in. You need to align your faith. You need to, it's either you believe in Idlozi, it's either you believe on Isonto, it's either you believe in you, but you got to believe in something. And that always centers me and it realigns me whenever I feel like Izinto ziti or I'm confused a little bit. So faith is everything. You have to figure out what do you believe in, because that is honestly your key to the other opportunities and to other worlds that are yet to experience your arrival through understanding if faith yakho ukuthi imikuphi.
I don't want to ukuvoma uyabona na ivoma imfaduka iphuma amanzi wonke. I think I've been able to get the entire story and it's incredible to hear it. I'm looking forward to future episodes that we're going to do where we want to talk about other issues in jail. But I had never done an interview with you and sit down like that. I was thinking about it the other day in Qatuklana and I'm like, like all these years. Yes, but because it's Joylene. And the one thing and I've never sat down with you. I'm like, let's do this, you know?
Yeah.
And it happens at a time when we're both on national breakfast at the SABC. It's incredible. God has been good to both of us.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of you, bro.
Thank you, man.
From when we spoke about from when you were still on ground zero, to be sitting with you here across the table. It's amazing what you've achieved.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations, man.
You're one of those people, and I told you the story once. My mom was one of your biggest fans. It brings tears to my eyes when you dropped Violence Volume 1. You know, I remember she bought a CD. I'm gonna CD player. Ne? And it's because of when you make people feel something, it's the small things you did, it's those nuances. For you, it was part of a script. Marukufika on friends like these and say, my mom would always use that and say, you must never disrespect abantu abadala. Never. Never, never, never. And it's when you become a symbol of what your mom wants you to become with small things. For me, I want to thank you for that and just giving my mom also a reference point of hope. What her son wants to be is not a crazy idea. Because for some of us, we come from a space where there's not a lot of people like us. You know what I mean? When I went to Zalibe to saw people like yourselves doing it, it kind of gave them comfort to go, okay, cool. Let him do it. Because I was poor doing it. I remember you did an interview, Andil, when you went back to Y, Unfinished Business. No, it was on live, I think. and Andy asked you.
Sorry about that, man. I know I also just got emotional.
Yeah.
You know, man. So rest in peace. I'm sorry about my old lady, you know. But thank you.
Good. And I told her once, Guti, I'm gonna book you for a surprise party, and life works how it works. But it's small things like that. You know what I mean? I was telling you about that moment Andy when on live. Andy asked you, Guti, so very why you have 100,000? My mom was like, what says we? Only 100,000 on radio. I was like, yeah, mama. So I'm 100,000. And that kind of made her feel good. Okay, cool. Okay. It's not a bad idea.
There's a future here.
There's a future in this thing. It's not all about money, but also it's just believing in your kids and their wildest of ideas. And sometimes you need people who are doing it to bring that forward to our parents. Let them believe in something. So I thank you for that. And as you said, man, like you've always been one of those guys in the game who really, you've really pushed me up. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have to put up those posts way back in the day. You've embraced me every time you've seen me. And that's one thing I've learned from you. There's a story you shared. I shared all the time. You probably don't remember. You also taught me, people always say, Sabby, wow, Shai Tom and I'm a fan. But you taught me that. Shai Tom. That means so much. You know what I mean? You told me the story. You're like, Yazi, when people meet you, you do not know how far the love they have for you goes. So when they finally get an opportunity to back born, honor that moment. You know, like Dave Chappelle says, you must understand when you're living in someone else's dream. And sometimes it happens. And I realize if when I'm running late for a gig, I realize, good, and my team is saying, as right, but I understand, good, at this moment, lo muntu lo, them meeting me is everything. Acknowledge that moment. And I learned that from you. And I want to say thank you for that. It's those small things, because sometimes people in the line of work that we do forget why we do it. It's those people on the other side. If they choose to listen to something else, we must never forget that they have the power. So when they get to meet you, make that moment special. You know what I mean? So thank you. Thank you. Like, these are some of the teachings you never did one-on-one, but some of them, for us who are fortunate enough to be in your space, you've taught us. And we thank you. We thank you, Spuda. Like, I say this for Amachita Paya from Ekasi, who Tanindwang, you know what I mean, who like the soft things. You went through your phases, you know what I mean? Tengama Aston Martin, skutazegile during that moment. You went through your phase of reading, sfundile, you know what I mean? And yeah, thank you, bro. You know, so you saying that you're proud to me is like, sheesh. You know what I mean? As someone who lost his dad at, you know what I mean, at 10. I remember when Linda said he's proud of me. Man, I felt like crying the other day. Linda came to studio to show me love. Watankale, you interviewing me right now. These are moments, because the kid in me is like, these are the guys I looked up to. So to have a khutman that you looked up to saying that they're proud, it means a lot. And now I'm telling you what you did for me. It means a lot, and I thank you so much.
Bro,
yeah.
Thank you, man. I'm emotional, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the flowers all the time, you know? Yeah, the flowers, and they smell good, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really smell good. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, and then nonke, you know? I love you, bro. And let's keep doing what we do. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Can you please just give us your last words on camera? From now, ringing
oh, yeah,
I just started getting emotional, you know? It's because the more cooler, the more understand about
True.
you know? I always say this to a lot of people. They never speak to their folks no more. They feel like they can't rehabilitate that relationship. The parents did them bad when they were young. Now they're older and they're like, you know what I mean? But I always say, if you can, try and go and rehabilitate that relationship, because you still have those parents. You've got the luxury. We don't have that luxury anymore of having a time away. I'm blessed I still have my Olido. And when I hear your story that you're an orphan, but if your mother was here to be able to experience your 5-month-old, because I know how my mom feels about my kids, you know what I mean? Like what that means to them. Like abanandaba now, abanandaba nentendings omhlaba, nabaplomi nama grandkids wabizukulu. The joy that it brings to them. So yeah, keep strong, bro, and congratulations. Wherever she is, she's very proud of you.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
So guys, rehabilitate those relationships. Forgive your parents if you can. Mend. So that even though they're no longer around, at least you are in peace. That you were able to, even if they did you wrong, man. Just go and find be the bigger person and fix it. Because when they're no longer around here, you'll only understand maybe then what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Your last words out here.
Last words.
Onto that camera over there, sure.
I tweet this every Monday. And when I tweet it every single Monday, I'm tweeting it because I think I'm saying it to myself, but I genuinely feel like there's always someone who needs to hear it. Is the fact that every single day when we do this whole life thing, we should do it with no expectation and also just understanding that nothing is guaranteed. There's no promises. There's no favors. There's no line of favorites to this life thing. Today could be your day. And people, they always say, what do you mean today is your day? Because today could be that day where your stars align, Jaya. Your stars could align, vandaag. And the big question is if we are Boba vandaag, are you ready for what you've been praying for? Are you ready? Some of us, we're praying for things we're not ready for. But what if it happens today? Because everything you've been praying for, God is listening and He is aligning it. And one day is one day. So I just want you to forever consistently work towards what you're praying for. And for as long as you step outside and you're going out there to claim those blessings, I hope you're ready for it. Because sometimes my claim, approve. So stay ready, Jaya. Because when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That's it. Yabong.
Hustlers, DJ Sabby, DJ Smooth. Tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, Radio 2000. Tomorrow morning, Metro FM, nationwide.
6
Whatever
o'clock.
province you're in, you can catch both of us. And thank you so much for the love over the years. We appreciate you guys. We are who we are because of you, you know. Especially radio. Because radio, that radio DJ is your best friend.
Yeah.
Bro. That's why I'm up my pen and I'm born for the first time. I'm excited because I'm every day. You know, so we play a very big role in society. And thank you for your humility as well.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on the next episode, and may all your dreams come true. Young people are doing great things with their lives.
True.
The question is, what are you doing with yours? Danko.